Welcome to Take One of Those Shebs. My guest at this point is the founder of Postcards, Amit Jaipuria. Amit, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on. How are you?
I'm doing great, Chef. Thank you so much for having me.
Whereabouts in the world are you currently, Amit?
Based in Bangalore, India. Got a lot of history stuff here. There's a lot of nature. There's a jungle about 2 hours away. It's beautiful.
For people who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been a founder all my life. I've been an entrepreneur. This is my fifth startup. So I've been doing startups since 1999, 2000. I've worked across industries. So I've done startups in home gardening, retail, doing social media. We had a agri-tech company as well as fine art. So across those four industries, I've kind of created my own startups, had some challenges, ran into some difficulties, but each one was a learning experience. And then finally, I got into travel in 2019, 2020 when I wanted to sort of do it for myself. I've been an entrepreneur all my life.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're a serial entrepreneur if you started up quite a few startups and seem to have a know-how of how to begin a business. Before you answer a bit more about your business and how it began, just want to ask you, did the other businesses that you've started off, and you said that before you've got five startups in total, are those businesses still running? Are you still doing those as well as this current business that you started up?
I think all the four businesses before this, we kind of ran into some scale issues. So we had to wind them down 3 years, 4 years down the line. It was after the last one. The last one was Art Collective, which was where we're trying to bring a community of Indian artists together who are, visual artists, painters, etc., and empowering them by creating their, artworks in digital reprints, licensed products as well.
The businesses that you seem to have been starting have a heavy community influence. Why it's so important for you to have that concept behind all of your business?
I don't know if I started it with the community in mind. I think I always started it with trying to do good in mind, making a positive impact through my work. And it just happened that the last two ones seemed to sort of have a role of the community. But even the Art Collective product, we were kind of looking at it more of a product company. And not as a community. Whereas what we've done with Postcard is it's got us. We're completely looking at this as a community. We're a community building company which happens to have a tech product. But what we're doing is really trying to bring together a global community of voices that are authentic for responsible tourism. Whether it's travel designers, whether it's storytellers, whether it's boutique hotels, industry associations, tourism boards. We're kind of getting them to say, let's collaborate, right? Let's collaborate and start writing stories about every part of the world. Because also what's happening, I feel, is, whether you're looking at politics, whether you're looking at, journalism in general, it's very marketing driven. And I think a lot of the small stories and the true stories are getting hidden because they just don't have marketability in it. And that's what we're trying to change through Postcard.
For people to get an idea of what Postcards is about, what exactly is the concept and how can people buy into it?
So Postcard is a marketplace. So we have two partners here working with us. So one is, of course, the suppliers. These are your travel designers. These are hoteliers, storytellers. We act as a representation company for them. We represent the companies that share our values, our vision for, empowering local communities and spreading the word of responsible tourism. And we kind of help them collaborate and bring on stories onto the platform. For the consumers, the consumer that we focus on is the mindful luxury traveler. And for them, what we've created is a single space where they can go to actually find these amazing hotels and these amazing travel designers who are creating these really thoughtful tours, which then again go down and support the local community. So it's kind of a search engine of sorts, not a search engine, but really a directory of, a list of boutique hotels and a directory of a list of really cool tours that people can then explore, read the stories behind them, and then be inspired. And if there's a fit and they are inclined, they can actually book with these partners.
Just want to give an example for people listening. If I was to come to you today and say, like, I am looking for a luxury hotel, perhaps a tour with responsible tourism in mind, and I want to give back to Bangalore, let's for example, what do I do first? What do you guys do to help me with that?
I'll give you an actual example. So we have a tour which is on the Pashmina Trail of Ladakh, right? So there's a very interesting angle to this because the whole tour has been designed around the Ladakhi economy moving away from tourism and trying to sort of get into the Pashmina side because Pashmina has a very long tradition with Ladakh. It comes from the Chankha region, which is in the high mountains of Ladakh, and it's these nomads that have been doing this for centuries, and they've been weaving this really fine fabric, which they then were exporting to Kashmir, and from Kashmir it was getting woven into the fine pashmina shawls that we've heard of and the clothing, and then going all over the world. But what Shobha, who's our partner from the Extra Mile, has done is she's kind of wanted to she was really moved by the whole area and the nomads, and she's like, how do I create this store which connects directly with the Ladakhi economy? So she's kind of used a bunch. She partnered with the companies over there, individuals, etc., and brought together a narrative around the whole Pashmina Trail of Ladakh, where traveler actually goes up to the north. They camp with the nomads for 3 to 4 days. They come down, they meet, they stay at the Stoke Palace, which is an old palace hotel, which dates back to, I think, 1200 or 1300, if I'm not mistaken. They meet these entrepreneurs who are actually doing high street fashion with the Ladakhi community and actually empowering them by selling their clothes, designing them and selling them all over the world. So you kind of really immerse yourself in this environment where you kind of feel the whole cultural immersion into the community. You're still in luxury, but at the same time you're kind of connecting with all these people. So what would happen for a traveler is if they're looking at a tour in Ladakh, one is you of course look at your typical tours, but what you get by partnering, coming on Postcard, searching for
Mhm.
India, and then under India, you see a tour on Ladakh, you can actually dive into some of these stories from Ladakh that are experiences and anecdotes from the tour and see if they inspire you, right? And if they inspire you, then you can go ahead and then make an inquiry with the company that's actually promoting this tour that kind of weaves in these experiences into an itinerary.
Are we only talking about India that you deal with, or are we talking about the whole world, or is it something that you want to get to, perhaps rest of the world? But have you just started with India at this moment?
No, the whole world. I mean, there are these amazing small boutique companies around the world, whether they're boutique hotels, whether they're boutique travel designers. They're doing some phenomenal work. I mean, we've got our partners, in Botswana. We've got Rob from, uh, Golden Africa Safaris. He's doing some work on how to sort of create awareness around the indigenous area, the people. So there are shaman stories. There are these amazing stories of conservation that they do through their work. We've got Dr. Raj Joshi, who's another partner with us. He's a very interesting person. He's kind of done a lot of work with celebrity tourism as well. He was actually part of the Everest team that shot the Everest movie. He's taken celebrities like David Beckham and his friends trekking through the Amazon forest. And he's got a tour around Sierra Leone because his motivation is that, Sierra Leone is stuck with the word blood diamond. And
Hmm.
there's so much more to it. And his whole idea is how do we showcase Sierra Leone through its other local narratives.
Okay.
In that work, he actually does work where he takes his travelers into the hospitals where some of them donate blood. He's found donors for causes through that. So his whole idea is how do we use travel to transform. And then we have a very interesting, ultra luxury tour, for example, which goes out to, which is in Antarctica, where Robin Woodhead, who was the youngest woman to, I think, trek across from east to west of Antarctica, actually
Mm.
created these polar pods, which she markets as the closest thing to being on another planet. To the effect where they actually had Buzz Aldrin come in as a guest to them, and he kind of talked about how similar the moonscapes were to the terrain that they see in Antarctica as well. So a lot of these travel designers are from all over the world, but what's amazing about them is that they're all driven by passion and profit, and a strong sense of conservation and commitment to the local community.
How can people become partners? If I wanted to become a partner of yours, do I contact you and say this is what my passion and this is what I want to do for this community? Does it also have to have a luxury purpose behind it?
We're currently targeting the luxury traveler. So the partners that we bring on as suppliers are people who've been in the industry for like at least 5 years. They've demonstrated their commitment for supporting the local community. A lot of them have credentials where they're association members with the Long Run or the Transformational Travel Council or ATTA. So we invite them to apply. We, in fact, even partner with these organizations and say, look, why don't you connect us with some of your members who are aligned with our vision and values, and we'll help them come on board and share their stories with our community and the world. So, we get the hotel partners coming in like this. We have the travel designers coming in like this as well.
How have you built that momentum? Because you've only just started. Is it just word of mouth? Is it you as a person?
Yeah, so I think before we actually launched this product, I became a member at the Transformational Travel Council, which is an amazing group of people who are actually very, very committed and sincere towards kind of bringing change. I listened to a lot of travel designers. I listened to a lot of hotels talking about the challenges that they were facing because they all had great products. They could get to designing great products, but they were always struggling with getting their voice out to the world, getting attention. So that's kind of how it incubated the idea that, look, we need to position a product which is specifically for this audience. And that's kind of how, one thing led to another, and then we had all these, partners come on board. But it's also aligned with what they are trying to do for themselves, right? Because the TTC, the ATTA, the Long Run, and others exist to sort of forward this whole movement, if you will, towards mindful travel. And by having our product kind of nicely fit into their work world as well, it kind of created that alignment, which I think has helped us a lot.
Where are you in the marketplace then, in terms of getting people aware? Why should people come to? I know you've explained the business, but what makes you different? To perhaps, I know you said perhaps there's not many other businesses like yours, but there possibly will be out there. I'm sure you've looked into that competitive field, but why would someone come to you ahead of someone else?
For us, it's about storytelling. Just come to listen about the stories, just read the stories. Over the weekend, even if you don't have travel in mind, it's amazing to sort of listen to the stories behind these inspiring people that are actually making a dent in the world. And then, going through their narratives of what the local stories is, how they're supporting people, the celebration, the music, the stories of culture, food, nature, and wildlife, right? There are all these amazing things. So it's actually a space where, if people want to be inspired by the real world, it's something where you can just come to, you can subscribe to our newsletter, and then every week we send out a new publication or an issue where we kind of talk about something wonderful from another part of the world. And our mission aligns with that, because what we're trying to do is to build the world's largest collection of stories of local people and places. And these are the spokespeople for us that, who tell these stories and then bring this vision together.
For the consumer as well, if they were to come ahead with you and book a tour, book a luxury hotel, I know your target audience is the luxury traveler, so perhaps they'll have a bit more wealth. But what are we talking about in terms of an average spend if they come to you? Have you worked that one out yet?
So our hotels typically start at $250 a night. That's the starting price, and then as far as the tours, they start at typically $2,500 to $3,000 as a ticket item. And then it, of course, varies based on the number of days, etc. But that's kind of the out of pocket that we look at to sort of, bring on the travelers as well. Because I think what our partners also want are, they're also looking for travelers who connect with their ethos, right? They want travelers who are aligned and they are inspired by these stories. So it becomes a great direct fit where the traveler directly connects as an inquiry with these people who are behind these amazing hotels and tours.
Depending on the duration as well. So you said those prices could go up. So those are the starting points, but it could go up depending on how long you decide to do the tour.
Yeah, so our ultra luxury tour, which is the tour in Antarctica, I think is a 5-night tour, which is at about $62,000.
Oh wow! So we are really talking high end luxury travelers that you're looking for.
That's a tour by White Deserts, which was by Robin Woodhead. She's created these polar pods and stuff like that. So uh, yeah, so it's a range, right? So it's about, but what we make sure of is that we make sure that each of the partners that we're working with are kind of giving back in their own way to the land or the people, and and uplifting the communities where applicable.
You've mentioned a lot of your other businesses and you've come into travel now. Do you see this as a long-term project? Do you see it evolving? What's the ethos and what's the plan for the coming years? Where would you like to see the business go to?
Personally, I think this is going to be what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. For me, the kind of people I've met, every day is an inspiration because I actually get to meet the people behind the scenes and talk to the founders, talk to storytellers, talk to hoteliers, right? And one of the things that I always ask them is what's their origin story. And when you always dive into that, it's something so simple, but at the same time, it's touched an emotion that made them kind of quit what they were doing and go on this tougher path, right? Where they were driven more by their purpose than to sort of just kind of fit into a commercial world. You need to have a space for people to sort of escape to find the world as it truly is, right, through its local narratives, and that's what we see as a vision for Postcard, and that's why we exist.
A lot of misconceptions can happen when you think of luxury travel, where people think, oh, these are rich folks who are going out to places, they don't really care about the community. But having this is actually really, really important. This could be something that eradicates that thought process that people may have.
And also how you define luxury, right? So Dr. Raj Joshi from Adventure Boutique, to him, luxury means access. When he takes people into Sierra Leone, these guys are paying a good amount of money, but it's not about staying in a fancy hotel because Sierra Leone doesn't have that. It's about staying in a simple place which is comfortable, but then having the richness of experience that will actually transform you. So I think that's another way in which luxury is being redefined as well, and it's really interesting to see how people are doing it in different ways.
You've got to this position. I've read in your bio that you started the concept in 2020. So what were the challenges before you got to this point right now?
When we realized that we are actually a community building organization, rather than a product company, I think we were earlier trying to sell a product. We were trying to say these are the features, these are the things. The why was lost, the why was hidden of why we do what we do. When I joined the Transformational Travel Council and I met with all these people, it kind of helped me discover the why. And that's when we changed the narrative and we started getting attention, because I think we started to hit a chord, which was an emotional chord with an affinity, a group of sorts. And then we started to see a lot of support as well coming our way, which I think then encouraged us to sort of be a little more bold and say that, look, this is why we exist. We're trying to sort of start a little bit of a revolution here of sorts, where we're trying to bring together all these people to say that, come, talk about your stories and let's take this movement forward.
If there was more companies that started the exact same concept, how would you go about challenging them and keeping on top?
We don't even want to look at it as a challenge, right? I mean, if you really think about why we exist, it's to sort of be ambassadors and be spokespeople for the members that we've got on board, the people, the companies, and the hotels we represent. We have great friends, Singular Places. There's, Lars from Singular Places. He's got a startup. We're all driven by the same idea of how do we help, showcase these voices. So for us, it's kind of like, he's doing it his way. He's got a community that like his style of doing it. We are coming about with a different style, which is through storytelling. My friend Shobha Mohan from Rare India, that's a representation company of conscious luxury hotels in India. She's kind of showcasing them in a different way, but we're all aligned with the idea of trying to promote responsible tourism. The competition for us are the people who are promoting over tourism. The competition for us are the commercial the platforms that are selling deals and trying to sort of just focus on the cost factor, but it comes at a cost of the quality of experience, which people often miss out on because they're focusing too much on the ticket item.
You've just answered that they're not really competition, but there's someone that you're actually working with because they're actually going to be helping the community. And that's the way to look at it, rather than the competition need to kick them to the curb. I think that's a great answer that you've given in terms of you working together to build that community of luxury, but perhaps mindfulness travel.
In a way, we're kind of supporting each other as far as possible. I've reached out to Lars, I've reached out to Shobha. They're helping us out. We're helping them out in whatever way we can, because we're kind of aligned with the end vision that we have in place. We're also looking at storytellers, right? Travel writers around the world. What we're doing for them is we're saying that, look, if you're interested in writing for luxury hotels who have difficulty, telling their stories, we're kind of bringing together a whole community of travel writers to say that, look, we'll help you find these hotels that are looking for editorial help. So it's about community activation, right? It's bringing them together and then empowering them, finding out what are the ways in which we can add value to each other and just support each other and take the movement forward.
Well, Amit, it's been fantastic having you on. It's really great to get to know your business and where it's heading to. Before I let you go, just tell everyone where they can find it, how they can go about booking it, and how they can help the communities around the world.
What guests can do is head over to Postcard, which is postcard.travel, and then subscribe to the newsletter, where we start sending you, stories every week about, some amazing local stories from different parts of the world. A lot of good work that's going on behind the scenes towards mindful travel and responsible tourism. And if you're interested in taking a trip, or staying at a hotel that supports the local community, we have a directory of hoteliers. We have a directory of tours that each one of them are very driven to advance the mindful travel movement. So I encourage you to visit the site and have a look and have fun.
Fabulous. Well, I mean, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time, and I'll speak to you very soon. And best of luck with the business.
Thank you so much, Cabs. It was great talking to you. I really enjoyed the interview as well.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button to never miss an episode, and watch all my previous episodes from the show. You can also follow me on all my social media platforms. That's it for Take a Wonder, Shebs. Hope to see you all soon. Until next time, bye for now.